Whenever I talk about equity release, people usually have a few key worries, and to be honest, they're completely valid. I'm Carrie Syson, founder of Your Final Matters, and I help people to get their paperwork and their practical ducks in a row so their family aren't left trying to figure everything out at the worst possible time. This is part of my equity release and later life planning series, and in this episode, I'm focusing on the risks that people worry about and the safeguards that are in place today. And just to be clear, I'm not giving any financial or legal advice. This is just to help you understand the bigger picture. So what are the risks and safeguards? Well, the main risk that people worry about is debt. They worry about leaving a large debt behind. They worry about the loss of control over the home. There's that fear that the lender's going to own or take the house from under them. And they also worry about reducing their inheritance and what they can leave to their loved ones. They're worried about their children receiving less. And they're also worrying about the impact on the benefits and their care funding and whether using their housing wealth is going to affect their state support later. These are usually the first things that people think about, even if they don't say them straight away. So luckily, we have some key safeguards in our UK equity release market. There is something called the no negative equity guarantee. So if the property is sold properly on the open market at arm's length with no sort of manipulation of figures or selling at an undervalue, the lender will always write off the shortfall. The family and the estate are therefore not liable for any remaining debt. So let's look at an example. If, for example, the debt at the sale is $500,000 on a property and the property only sells for $450,000, there could be a potential shortfall of £50,000, and that would be written off by the lender. This is one of the biggest protections that gives people reassurance today. The other one is about retaining control, and that's control for the borrower and not the lender. So the borrower will control how much to borrow, when they want to draw it down, whether they want to accept or reject the terms, and you can also repay the loan. For example, you might get an inheritance from somewhere else, you might get a windfall, you could win the lottery, or you might decide to downsize. And at that point, you can sell the property, repay the lender, and then you can move, subject to any early repayment charges. The lender cannot demand repayment just as and when they want to, while you live in the home, while you maintain it reasonably, and while you keep your building's insurance in place. So you still own your home and you will remain in control of these decisions. This is part of my equity release and later life planning series. So if this is your first one you've seen, do go back and watch the others so you get the full picture and understand it all. If you found this useful, please follow me at Your Final Matters on Instagram or Facebook. Subscribe here to my YouTube channel, and please share this with someone who might be unsure about the whole topic of equity release. You can find more about my workshops and the help I can give you at yourfinalmatters.co.uk, and you can message me there directly if you want to know how I might be able to help you. Because while you still have a voice, you still have a choice.